Hello, I'm Captain Todd Copeland. I'm the commanding officer of Naval Support Activity South Potomac, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the Community Relations brief today from South Potomac. So I'd like to start a little bit about myself. I took over the command from Captain Mo O'Leary on July 10th in a very socially distanced ceremony right here with Admiral Lottie. We had about 50 people here, and I wish I could have had a lot more and a lot more of you here, but we got through it with everything going on here with COVID. I've also been joined in the command by Command Master Chief Charles Heisel. He's the new Command Master Chief who comes to us from VFA 192. He's in his second Command Master Chief tour. So with two new guys on board, we're excited for the future of South Potomac. And his bio is up there for you to look at as well. So a couple things that we've been doing here at South Potomac with COVID. We've moved to Health Protection Condition Bravo, which allows us to open up a lot of the facilities on base with social distancing and a lot of the CDC guidelines in place. We're not doing anything with large meetings. We're limiting everything to 50 people or less indoors, and then outdoors it's a little bit broader, but we are still using social distancing. One of the things that the Department of Defense has put out since COVID's come out is to really rethink how we use the workforce. So from the Secretary of Defense down, we've been tasked to look at teleworking and how we can better utilize a dispersed workforce and take some of the lessons learned from COVID and apply it from the services all the way down to the installations. So here at Naval Support Activity South Potomac, we're taking that and we're looking real hard at what the installation is going to look like, what Indian Head is going to look like, as well as what Dahlgren is going to look like in a new normal environment. So we anticipate that there will be a significant reduction in our footprint here over the next coming months and potentially the next few years as we look at a new normal on teleworking, a dispersed workforce, and that's going to have an impact on the community, and good and bad, but hopefully a lot of good as far as reducing the traffic flow and congestion outside the gate. But we're going to keep communicating with all the community leaders on how we go forth with what our footprint on base actually looks like. We're continuing on with the reopening strategy, opening up different facilities on base. We've got the bowling alley and the movie theater and things like that open to try to get back to a new normal here as well, and we'll continue to relay that. One of the things we have been able to take advantage of during COVID is looking at our gates. So as you can see here on the slide, we have completely done an overhaul on Indian Head's main gate. That project is going to be finished here in January with new lanes, a new facility there with heightened security as well. Looking at here at Dahlgren, with the amount of traffic and congestion we had pre-COVID, we looked at both the main gate and B gate to figure out how we can make it a little easier to get in during rush hour, specifically on main gate with a school right there, and then on B gate with the congestion there on 301. So you can see there with main gate, we've repaved a new area right outside the post office that goes around it to allow for exit there in the morning during rush hour and allow more traffic to come inbound. And then next there with B gate, we've done a very similar thing, and you can see here on the next slide the actual schematic on how the traffic flow to allow 3 lanes in with also an emergency egress lane for other vehicles to get out there at B gate. I emphasize these changes are sort of band-aids right now, and we are looking down the road to try to do broader gate projects due to the fact that over time we will have more capacity, maybe not next year or two, but we will have a bigger footprint there. So we are looking down the road at really at B gate at doing a larger project there. And before I close here and hand it over to Andy, I do want to talk about one of the big success stories that we've had here. And that's with these 6 heroes that are here on the slide from our fire department here on base. We have a mutual aid agreement with King George that, if able, we respond to their emergency requests. And this group here on the 31st of August found themselves out in town responding to a 911 call, and were able to go and found the victim who was no pulse and not breathing, and we're able to bring them back to life, and absolute heroes here, and just an indication of what we here on base and as part of this community are able to do to contribute both inside and outside the fence lines. So with this, I'd like to hand it over to Andy to talk a little bit about the demographic report.
Thank you, sir. For those of you who don't know me, hello, Comrel. My name is Andrew Revelos. I work for Jaron Hayes in the Public Affairs Office, and every year for the last 6 years or so, I've conducted a economic and demographic survey of both Dahlgren and Indian Head to provide the community leaders and stakeholders with a kind of a baseline of our economic impact. Some of the limitations of the study: it is just a snapshot. We are constantly hiring, and with attrition, it's a bit of a moving target, but we hope that the numbers can give you some idea of the impact we have in the community. So this year's study was an excellent study from our perspective. It showed strong to moderate growth in every category that we measure. Those categories are the workforce levels. We conduct a locality survey to find out where the employees live in the community. We do salary totals, we do incoming funds or budget authorizations, and that is just the money that comes into commands either through Congress or through their parent commands. And we also look at contracts as well as local contracts. So contract money from the total contract figure that is actually spent locally. One of the interesting findings that we had with locality was that there was some weak but measurable data suggesting that people were moving closer to where they work at NSF Dahlgren and NSF Indian Head. There were fewer others in the locality category. What we do with this is we take the total of everybody at our workforce levels and then find out where they live and try to figure out what percentage of the workforce is hosted by the communities around Dahlgren and Indian Head. If anybody has any questions about these findings, you can contact our office, contact Jaron or I. We have the graphics as well as a more in-depth look for folks that want more data.